Hey there, it's been a minute. I had this message prepared last week and I wanted to post it because I have some other content that I want to post, but I've been really busy since I've returned from Orlando, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to post this content today. So this message today is titled, When a Connection Triggers Your Abandonment Wound. So before we dive in, let's talk about what an abandonment wound actually is. So when people hear the words abandonment issues, they typically associate that with a relationship when someone has physically left them. But abandonment is much deeper than that. An abandonment wound develops when you've experienced loss, inconsistency, rejection, neglect, betrayal, or emotional disconnection in a relationship, and connections that were supposed to make you feel safe. For some people, it began in childhood. For others, it developed later through painful experiences like broken friendships, workplace betrayal, divorce, infidelity, or repeated rejection. So over time, your mind and your body begins to expect loss. So when someone becomes distant or doesn't respond or needs space or simply shows up differently, then your nervous system may respond as though you're being abandoned all over again, even when that's not even really what's actually happening. So you're often responding to an old wound instead of the present moment. So the first step towards healing is recognizing the trigger before you react. So when that abandonment wound is activated, your mind starts telling you stories like, is this, happening all over again? Or they don't care about me, or maybe I've done something wrong, or they're not coming back. But before you know it, you feel the urge to fix it. But here's what I've learned. Don't feed yourself to yourself. Don't let your wounded thoughts become your truth. Just because you're feeling abandoned doesn't necessarily mean you've been abandoned. Instead, pause. Pray, journal, walk, exercise, rest, whatever you can do to keep your mind busy. One of the practices I've intentionally implemented is what I call the 24-hour pause. Now, unless it's an emergency, I don't respond to a situation immediately. During those 24 hours, I will pause when something has happened where I feel like, someone may be, moving away or disconnecting. During those 24 hours, I begin to ask myself, what am I actually responding to? Is this today's situation, or is this an old abandonment wound being triggered? What evidence do I actually have, and what story am I creating in my mind? Am I responding from hurt or healing? And do I even need to respond at all? Am I trying to control someone else's behavior, or am I setting a healthy boundary? One resource that has really helped me is the book Crucial Conversations: Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High. One of the concepts that they discuss is the stories that we tell ourselves. We often take a few facts, fill in the gaps with assumptions, and then react to the story we've created instead of what we actually know to be true. That changed the way I approach difficult conversations. Now I ask myself, what are the facts? And what story am I telling myself? That one question has really helped me become less reactive and more thoughtful and more discerning before responding to situations. Then I assess the connection in itself. Is it healthy? Can this person receive what it is that I have to say? Do they respect my boundaries? Are they willing to listen and take accountability and work toward understanding? Are they willing to compromise? If not, I don't force the conversation. I can choose to pause the connection. And a pause is not a punishment. It isn't rejection. And it isn't necessarily a goodbye. A pause gives both people an opportunity to regulate, reflect, and become clear-headed, especially when emotions are high or raw. Conversations are much more healthier and more productive when everyone's not really heightened emotionally. Now, if the conversation still needs to happen, I can have that conversation from a healthier place after I've regulated and calmed down. If not, I've still protected my peace. Thinking of it as a pause instead of as ending has been incredibly freeing, because when you're not saying, oh, is this happening again, it gives you an opportunity to just reflect, right? Because it may or may not be what you're imagining at all. And sometimes healing requires space before it requires conversation. Another thing that has helped me is learning what my regulated state feels like. Learn your baseline, right? When are you emotionally triggered? Intentionally return to habits that regulate your mind, your body, and your spirit. Spend time with yourself, exercise, rest, and serve. Volunteer. Get involved at church. Get involved in your community. And if necessary, seek counseling, especially if you feel like you need it. Healing isn't pretending you're okay. It's learning healthier ways to respond to old wounds. When I'm struggling to see myself clearly, I come back to God's Word. Psalms 139:14 says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. When my emotions tell me I am not enough or that I've been abandoned, I choose to see myself through God's eyes instead of through my wounds. His truth becomes my anchor. Healing doesn't happen overnight. Every time you choose to pause instead of react, you're giving healing another opportunity to grow. Just because someone leaves doesn't mean God has left you. Your worth has never been determined by someone else's ability or inability to love you correctly. It has always been established by the one who created you. Until next time, remember that what helped you survive may also help you lead. I'm Regina Grace, the founder of She Serves Healed, where we transform survival skills into executive presence, discernment, and confidence, helping women become leaders who navigate personal and professional spaces authentically without abandoning themselves. If you like this message, please share it and feel free to visit my website at www.sheserveshealed.org. Have a great day.